So we're supposed to go live at 2:30, right? In the sense that that's when people are going to be joining us.
Just like,
so what I'll do is I'll save a little bit of everything I'm doing. So
no, we're live now.
Well, but people might want to cook along, right? Or maybe not with this.
My usual cooking show's on Sunday.
Yeah.
I did share it with the group, and so if they want to join, they will.
All right.
The point of the cooking show is, well, to share the joy of, I mean, usually I try to have something simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, if you made a small amount of this,
yeah.
It might be
simpler. Yeah. As long as the tomato sauce is made in advance, then yeah, it's pretty simple. I was thinking about how I've never thought about trying to make this inside of an hour. I mean, you know, because I cook this all day.
But you do it while you're doing other stuff. So you let it, like, the sauce slow cook. And
well, the sauce takes 2 days.
Right.
And so yeah. Slow cook isn't even the word for it. I mean, it's barely cooked. And so anyway, well, since we're going,
so you want to tell a little bit about your 2-day sauce?
Yeah. So it's still defrosting here. We can actually turn this on if you want. I don't know, I would say something on the order of about, well, these are each 5 gallons. I'd say maybe I have a total of 5 gallons of tomato sauce here, and then there's a little more that's going to go in as well. Tomato sauce is optional when it comes to gumbo. Some people put it in a broth, and it's more like chicken broth heavy gumbo. This is another traditional way to make it. But here's the thing:
it's what you have as your base.
That's well. So no, my base is going to be a Roux, and I'm going to make fun of everybody. But so the tomato sauce, the reason I
thought the Roux was the flavor.
Well, but I would call that the base.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's more tomato sauce than there is Roux, but the Roux is really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyway, this by the way is going to be the biggest batch of Roux I ever attempted to make. I normally make it in one of those small iron skillets, and this one's going to be about full. Never tried that before. I'm going to need your help. In fact, I'm going to need you to whisk as I pour in, or the other way around. One of us can pour and one of us can whisk. But anyway, the Roux is the deep flavor. So I mean, when I use the word base, I sort of mean the deep flavor, and this is the thing that sort of makes the difference. Whether you use chicken broth or chicken bone broth or whatever, or tomato sauce, whatever you use for your sort of main liquid ingredient, the flavor comes from the Roux. And so anyway, but the reason I like it with tomato sauce is that I like my tomato sauce. So when the tomatoes are in high season here, I make gallons and gallons of this stuff.
The tomato sauce,
and
then you freeze it.
Freeze it, and then it's always gone by Christmas. Even I mean,
no matter how much you make,
never lasts. No matter how much but I use it for all kinds of things. And so it's only really lightly flavored, which is to say, as I'm making it, the thing that makes it taste so good is that this is high season vine ripened tomatoes bought at the farmer's market. You know, they have some of the stands, they have what they call canning tomatoes. These are the ones that are not as pretty, but they're just as delicious.
And they're perfectly ripe, ready to use right then.
And so basically, I buy them on Saturday.
Highest quality of taste.
That's exactly right.
They might have some imperfections and some few bad spots.
Yeah, so I mean, I buy. It's not uncommon for me to buy 60 pounds at a time, because that's about all I can stand to cook. But then I might do that a couple or 3 weekends in a row to get this. And so I'll start on a Saturday afternoon, and it won't be done till Monday morning.
Here, I'll show you my mixer. Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh. But I have a stick blender. But here it is.
Now, what the heck is that?
So this is the bottom of the stick blender. And this is the top.
Oh, I see.
And so I put the tomatoes.
Oh, I see.
So this is just, you know, a stick blender, but
this is what I use.
Yeah, just like,
but you know, 60 pounds at a time of tomatoes going through this. well, I mean, Gay helps. We essentially make an assembly line out of it. Would you say?
Oh, that was nice of you to introduce your sous chef.
Oh yeah,
Just
Gay's back
randomly.
here. She is deveining and shelling shrimp right at the moment, which is going
The
to be
hard work.
It is. It's not any fun, but she actually sort of likes doing this sort of thing. And so
I don't know about the smell though. It's intense.
well, yeah, but this is fresh. I mean, the most of this shrimp. Well, I say fresh. I bought it frozen at Schnucks this morning.
Okay.
And they had it on sale. I got really lucky. I mean, it's like $10 off per bag.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, but you do have to do the work. But so when it comes to gumbo, not all of the shrimp I have back here has to be shelled and deveined, but you got to get some of it that way. And the reason is that we're going to put the shells. I didn't put this on the recipe. We're going to put the shells in a garni bag.
Oh, to make broth, like
well, I mean, no,
or an add of flavor. Yeah,
yeah, it adds flavor.
Because I've done that before to just make what?
Oh, you can make a broth,
seafood broth.
Sure, you can make broth with it. Yeah. So you don't really want to eat the shells, but they have a lot of flavor, and so you want them. And so I'll put this one in each one of these in turn so that they get some of that really good shrimpy shell umami. Yeah, that's what Gay suggests. But it takes us about 2 hours to do 60 pounds of tomatoes. But see, this I don't know whether this machine you've got, whether it turns it essentially into a liquid, but that's what I do. There's still some chunks left, but for the most part, when it's been through this,
I mean, that's as much as you want. It's a blender.
Okay.
But you can do it in a pot.
I see. Okay.
So
well, but it takes us about 2 hours to do 60 pounds, and we're tired because you got to pull this thing like you're starting a lawnmower. But it's still a great kitchen implement to have. All right, so let's turn the sauce on here, because what I'm going to do is
turn the handle and it'll light it.
So I see black and I see red.
The blacks are the oven. So
okay.
Yeah. Just you turn it on and it comes on full blast. And if you keep turning it, it turns it lower. That was the back one. So.
Okay, we don't really want to cook this tomato sauce much because it's already cooked.
You're trying to just.
Well, what I'm doing.
Did you say the whole point of this is to cook it as little as possible for a long time?
So the tomato sauce is already cooked. It doesn't need to cook more. But the thing is I'm now about to put in the ingredients that constitute what you might call the deep vegetables. And so
this isn't what they call the Trinity.
Yes, it is. I'm putting the Trinity in. So
come on, don't question me. I mean, that was a setup.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't mean to question you. No. Of course, you know what you're doing, and you know what I'm doing. But yes, the Trinity is going in, and this is the Louisiana Trinity because peppers are the third ingredient. Onion and celery, that's pretty much part of everybody's Trinity, right? But and of course, tomatoes are already in there. But what I'm going to be doing is the celery doesn't really need to still be crunchy.
Cut stuff too, because we're doing a lot.
Oh, yeah. You can definitely join me here.
Because we're cooking a lot.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably end up being, I don't know, something a little under. Well, look at you.
So what else do we need to cut up here?
So we're gonna
a lot of celery.
Well, yeah, I mean it's pretty important. I'll tell you what, you want to take
take
these ends off before. Oh, I'll just do it.
Is it more flavor or texture with celery? I always wonder.
It's both when it comes to this. But we're not worrying too much. Where's your compost?
Just put a bowl over there and we'll.
Yeah, that's not gonna hurt anything. Yeah.
You could add any of those bits in the gurney bag.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I saved all that stuff and make broth. I put like a gallon bag in the freezer, and once it's full, I make broth. But
okay, well, Why don't you just keep doing what you're doing?
I'll get a bowl. I'm slow moving. That the smell of that shrimp is slowing me down. Just that's some real shrimp.
Well, yeah.
But so one thing that I noticed for yours is different than others is you got molasses there.
Well, I explain it. And did you read the recipe?
Well, I'm trying to get you to talk.
Oh, I see.
Just like,
Well, but I'll talk about that while I'm doing it.
all right.
But I actually could sort of start. Well, no, we need to do this first. We got to get these the peppers and the celery. See, normally I wouldn't even worry about this because I'm normally going to cook this overnight. So anyway, getting
Do you
these.
cook it on a gas stove overnight?
Sure.
How do you keep it from
Oh,
burning?
no, I don't. I don't leave it on overnight. So you get it hot, and tomato sauce retains a tremendous amount of heat. And so what we do is turn it off just before we go to bed. And
I don't recommend that for commercial food.
What?
You're gonna kill someone.
What?
Huh? Leave food hot.
I don't think so. I'm
You're
not
just
gonna
like-
kill anybody. Well, we're not doing that here, so.
No, that's what we call the danger zone. You don't want it ever being 40 to 71 degrees. That's when bacteria loves to grow. So it's like you have to cool it below 40 or keep it above 130. So
Okay, so I've got a little bad. It's a brand new pepper. I just bought it today, and yet it's got a bad spot. Oh no, we can't use that.
so I don't know. You ever saw this where you just push in?
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make much difference. Well, the way I do it, I'll show you on the other one. What's just the trash? Do you have compost? What do you do?
We can grab another one of these bowls off the shelf there and we'll collect it.
Okay. Yeah, this one has furry stuff growing on the inside of it. Yeah, it is. It looks fine on the
It
outside.
looks so beautiful and then yeah, it's rotten on the inside.
Yeah, this is so you already did it.
What's that?
I don't get to show my poblano technique.
Oh, sorry.
Well, anyway, what you do is you cut it along the side.
Yeah.
And then again and again all the way around.
Oh, yeah. I do that for bell peppers.
Yeah. And it's but it doesn't hurt anything for the seeds to get into this.
Oh, okay.
So and by the way, I'm gonna Hellenize these, is what we call it.
What's that?
I'll show you in a second.
I mean, right now we just had the Helen hurricane, so wasn't that what it was called?
This machine we call the Hellenizer because our friend Helen gave us our first one. And so
So you're tornadoing it now that the Helen hurricane hit North Carolina.
Well,
That has
more
another
that is-
meaning.
hurricaning it.
Just
Yeah.
like,
Although I guess there were plenty of tornadoes spun off of that, weren't there?
oh, let's see, we got more celery. Attention.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you can't have too much celery in this. That's it's not going to happen. Okay, I've overfilled it. I was afraid.
Because you told me about the machine, I bought one.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had like the little electronic one,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I just like the.
Well, you have a lot of control over how fine it is with this, and so
Look at that. You're done.
this is where we're going with that.
I love good non-electronic stuff as much as
Well,
electronic
this is
stuff.
very easy to clean, and whereas most of those things that you those supposed kitchen helper things that you get, it takes more time to clean it than the time saved. Whoa,
That's how I feel.
I'm about to reach in there. Okay.
That's how I feel like about most food processors.
Mhm. But not this one.
They seem to have like so many ridges and bits
Yeah.
that it's like it saves all this time and then you spend that same amount of time cleaning it.
Yeah, but not so with this one.
Now maybe if you have the dishwasher, but I've always been the dishwasher, so.
Ah. So anyway, as I said on Facebook post, this the poblano pepper, as opposed to others you might choose, gives it a smokiness, but at the same time it calms down this tomato sauce.
Now, have you ever actually just like grilled it a little on the like? Well, if you have a flame, I've seen people just grill it a little bit on the flame to give it even more smoky.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that, but I believe you. But your poblano, I think, is your smokiest pepper. All right.
Yeah, it's really busy outside the kitchen. It's food pantry time right now.
Oh, is it?
And we're raising this money to support the food pantry. I mean, selling gumbo. So today we're teaching people how to make gumbo, but also cooking it to sell to support the food pantry. So it's like a threefer of goodness. So, and I don't know if a lot of regulars of my cooking show know that whenever I'm cooking, I tend to then make a whole bunch of it and then give out in the pantry. But we usually try to do this, the cooking shows at home to make it, you know, less intimidating. But because we're, you know, because we're selling this, we have to do it in a commercial kitchen properly.
Well,
and then of course, when you're making tons, it's a little easier in a bigger place.
Okay, let's go on and move to onions. So I Hellenize the onions. So you can feel free to take your knife and I'll take mine, and we'll.
Any special technique to stop from frying?
It's not necessary to cut them fast enough. I don't think that one's going to be suitable. What's that now? Yeah, you can put a match.
Add that to your, what do you call it, your bag?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Your broth bag.
Yeah. So actually, I should cut it in half if I'm going to do that. Get some of the flavor out of it. Well, actually,
looks fine on the inside.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Rough on the outside, but it's really fine on the inside.
Just like you.
What are you trying to say?
You're rough on the outside.
I think you're trying to say something. I'm not sure what it is.
Definitely not like that pepper.
I'm gonna go on and put it in the garnish bag anyway.
Sorry, on the inside. So
yeah, nobody ever accused me of being soft on the inside. That's for sure. All right, so here's what we do to Hellenize onions. We just go on and cut them about like that. Not too big, not too small.
wonder if they make a bigger version of that.
I don't know.
All right, you probably don't need
one that I've ever seen, and I have sort of looked for them.
Yeah, I don't think you probably need one. Oh, you're peeling it and you might have thrown the...
Well, I mean, it's a repetitive thing, right? One of those things.
So is it hard for you to figure out how to make, you know, this recipe and this quantity?
I've been thinking about it for days.
It's just like,
because I normally make about 2 gallons of this. And
I mean, that's substantial.
Yeah. And you know, it'll last us, well, 4 or 5 days anyway, when I do that. But I don't make it in pots this big. And control in cooking in many ways is what's sacrificed when you make things in big containers. You don't have anywhere near as much, fine tuning of it.
Or if you make a mistake, it's exacerbated.
Yeah, I would
Right.
think so. But see, I've
That's
never.
the one thing is I don't know how to make for like 2 people.
Oh,
I'm incapable. This cooking show, by cooking every week with someone new,
mhm.
I've gotten better at it and better at making like I don't know, a nice display or whatever, what do they call it? Plating. But I don't know like,
Presentation.
formal training of
Well,
cooking.
I have many teachers in cooking, but I wouldn't say I have any training. These are Vidalia onions, which you don't.
Does that mean you went to Vidalia, Illinois and got them?
Vidalia, Georgia.
I didn't know. I literally thought they were all made in Illinois.
Well, they may have been, but
Yeah.
the people from Vidalia have done everything in their power to try to control that domain.
I always thought it was kind of silly of some particular food was like only could be made in that place until I started realizing just like the uniqueness of like bacteria and especially with wines and cheeses.
Yeah, sometimes it can only be made under those soil conditions or whatever. So I'm gonna go on and put the garlic in, and then we're gonna make the roux.
I rue the day you said that.
You've been waiting all week with that pun.
I think so.
Well,
Did I punish you enough with that?
that's like my favorite pun.
Oh, I stole your pun.
You punished me that way, yes.
Because you're one of those pontificators.
All right, so we're gonna be generous with the garlic. That looks generous. Cover them both, I think. And here, your Hellenizer becomes your best friend. Because
Oh my!
you really
That's what really got me. The other stuff, I was like, I can. But
the ginger also, this is great for ginger.
I really like grating ginger. Like I freeze it and then grate it. But I don't know. I don't really like cutting it up very much. So far you've got your tomato sauce that you cooked for like. So what I like to do is put my tomatoes in there and like slow cook them overnight, and then the next morning I will scoop out the water that was released.
Oh yeah,
and then hit it with the stick blender. And I've like,
well,
usually about half the water, half of it is water. I take that out.
Yep.
And so like a bushel of tomatoes, you can concentrate it down to like a couple gallons of like, tomato concentrate.
Well, that's I cook it down 2/3. That's why it takes so long. Is if you're not going to burn it, and you do have to stir it, more or less constantly. Which, by the way, it's time to stir this again. I'm trying to find the right temperature for this.
Now that I've been cooking a lot bigger batches, I wanted to get one of those electronic stirrers that you just set on the top of the pot and stirs it for you. I've yet to see one for sale, but I don't know. It'll probably be something I get. That dong is people coming in and out of the door for the pantry.
Yeah.
We got some awesome volunteers helping out with the pantry. So, how many pounds of shrimp are you feeling?
A lot.
You don't remember how many pounds you bought?
No, not really.
Can you have too much?
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to just eat shrimp in every bite or anything.
But
I mean, you know, so she's about.
So this is like the perfect time of the year.
She's about
to make...
2/3 done, and this is what we're looking at. We're going to cut those in half.
Okay.
Yeah.
This time of the year is a good time of the year to make gumbo if you're doing tomato base.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's also okra season.
Yeah. That's
but okra you can freeze the tomato and the okra.
Well. Yeah, it freezes pretty
and
well.
It's fine for this recipe.
I have some fresh, and I have some that I bought 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we froze here. So that stuff is in good shape, and so I'm not worried about it. It has turned a little dark, but the texture is still quite good. So.
Oh yeah, it didn't turn all mushy. Yeah.
No, it's quite good. And you know, it isn't this.
Right.
But I'm gonna have to cook that a little bit longer, right? So anyway. Okay. So
apparently you don't follow the 5-second rule.
Not here, I don't.
Just like
at home, I do. Yeah.
Just like for yourself.
Yeah. So we're gonna make the roux now, and I'm gonna need you to help me with this.
Okay.
You know, I think I'm gonna move this back and we'll work here. That way, there's room on either side of it.
And so it's kind of funny. No, you go all the way to as hot as possible, and then keep going. There you go.
All right.
It's like exactly backwards of a home one.
So insofar as any of this is difficult, here comes the difficult part.
Okay.
Making the roux is something that
Why is that? I thought you're supposed to burn it.
Very slowly, yes.
It's like you're trying to burn it to get flavor. Mm-hmm. It's like the cheapest way to get flavor in food.
It is. You're right. And so, yes, we're sort of going to burn it, but we're going to burn it slow. So
but if it's too burnt, we don't like that. It's like we like it
there's
kind of burnt.
So look, with gumbo, you can push the roux further than you can with other Cajun meals, because it's going to be down deep in there. And so I will push it just a little further. It ain't going to be light brown. It's going to be dark brown, but it's not going to be black.
Okay. All right. I noticed you brought your own cast iron.
I did because I don't know how to make this in anything but cast iron. You didn't have any cast iron here.
No, I mean I have
no, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's just like the steel pans and yeah.
But this is 3 times the size of the cast iron pot I usually use to make it, because it doesn't take that much. But this thing will be almost full when we get done with it here. All right. So normally I would use one that's about this big, and it would be a little more than half full. All right, so first of all, we heat the skillet. That's what we do first.
There you go.
And as I said in the recipe, we let it get what I would call very hot. We're going to cut it back at the right moment too. Now I have my ghee, and I have already melted it.
So that's your secret.
It isn't. Bacon grease is much better.
Okay.
But I don't usually have that on hand. I mean, it's not that I don't ever make bacon. I don't make it often, and I do save the grease, but then it disappears.
It just
it goes into.
I distinctly remember. What was this? So this was right after 9/11. Tickets were super cheap, and so I went to Europe, and I was in Germany at a hostel, and they had they do a little breakfast out there with breads, and they had this bowl of just it looked horrible. It just looked like fat. Well, it didn't even look like fat. It looked like, I don't know, like mold was growing on it, whatever. And what it was the bits of bacon and fat in a bowl, and they included that with the bagels, and people were just spreading it on their toast.
Yeah, the Poles put that on their pierogi.
Yeah, and
so I can't remember what the Polish and German words for this are, but it's in Central Europe. This is a thing.
Don't waste.
No, they don't.
And the nice thing about it is you can leave that out on the counter.
Well, not much can go wrong for it, I don't think.
No.
But I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Probably gonna
Just
use
like-
all of that. So always use all-purpose flour. Don't use that some-purpose flour. It's a slacker.
Okay.
Uh,
Just like,
no, we want the all-purpose. Some-purpose flour, not gonna have it.
just like,
So the process and timing is going to make a big difference here. I am about to put this chicken broth into that pot.
okay, so I have you're gonna do that first?
Yep.
So
And
my
then you're gonna
process
add
of
the-
making roux is
Okay.
I toast the flour
Well,
to basically burn it.
I suppose you could do it that way.
You
Well,
know,
let's see.
it's
Oh,
just
not
like-
there. It's over here. I have to get my cold chicken
And
broth.
I learned that, like, I do that with my spices, like to do Indian food. I
Mhm.
like toast, and it's again a cheap way to add flavor. Like, if you
Okay, it's
toast
smoking. So this is cold chicken broth.
what does it matter? I'm just like, no,
It does. So we're going to use the cold chicken broth as we whisk because it breaks up the lumps.
we like slow the cooking process.
Yeah, basically. It does. It also slows the cooking process, but it breaks up.
You just like doing the bubbles. Why didn't you just put it in there and like then turn the pot on?
Because that's not how I was taught.
Oh, just like you just like that.
You always get the pan hot first.
You just like that dramatic pouring of the liquid in there.
Are you telling me it's hot?
What now?
Are you telling me it's hot?
All right, all right.
Well, it's on the so Adam Dyke, Zach Millis, and David Falgoux, all from New Orleans. They were graduate students at SIU when I first got here, and that's been a while. And they came over and taught me how to make this roux.
So they came to. You're saying they came to college just to teach you?
Yes, that was their
It's like-
purpose.
that's what I heard.
Yeah, all three of them did finish their PhDs, and I think all three of them got jobs in philosophy. I hope so, anyway.
Wait a second. Jobs in philosophy. There's a thing,
I have one. That's what I do at SIU.
but
I
don't
teach
you
philosophy.
teach philosophy? That's a,
Well, Jobs in Philosophy is just the name of the publication. That
Okay.
yeah. I mean, our professional publication says, "Here's the Jobs in Philosophy."
just like
There's actually a great story. So
so. That's the LinkedIn for philosophy. That book.
it is, yeah. Well, Jobs for Philosophers.
Okay.
Jobs, yeah. It's Jobs for Philosophers, JFP. I think all disciplines.
You don't have to use your hands if you don't want. There is pot holders right up
Yeah, I
there.
see that. Yeah. That's what. No. Anyway, my mind went to a place it shouldn't have gone to there.
So what goes in roux?
Well, roux is very simple. The only thing that's different about mine is the molasses. I mean, it's flour, chicken broth, and some kind of fat.
Okay.
When this comes to a boil, I'm going to add the ghee. This is my fat. The reason ghee, as opposed to just butter, is because ghee has a much lower flash point. Much higher flash point.
It's not just because it's pure concentrated butter.
No, it's because it won't. It's because it won't burn.
Okay.
Well, it will burn eventually, but
Yeah.
much higher temperature. Bacon fat is better still. You can really turn that. Of course, you better stand back. But anyway, so the ghee doesn't burn as easily, and so therefore,
So the way I've always made it is, again, burn the flour and then add the fat to it until it became like just, you're still frying it in there to impart a deeper, I don't know, flour.
Well, I mean, we're making it very much the way that gravy is made. So that's what I was looking for right there. You see what it's doing?
Starting to simmer.
Yeah, it's starting to boil actually. There's bubbles around the edges.
Oh, you're not holding back. Look at that.
Well, this is a big batch.
It's like, that's some ghee.
This is
Save
a
that
big-
jar for me. I'm gonna like lick it. Now I make my own ghee.
Oh, you
like,
do?
yeah.
Well, I've done that as well.
So
It's a lot of trouble. But butter's a lot of trouble.
Everything we do is a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I make.
But anyway,
I mean,
so,
when I do it, it's one of those big pots there. I mean, like I'm making a few gallons
let's
of it.
go on
and
and get your
jar it
whisk.
up.
Yeah.
You want the whisk or do you want this giant blender thing? It's just like,
I don't know about any giant blender thing. I wouldn't know what to do with a thing
yeah,
like
this
that.
stick blender.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with a thing
Let me
like
see if
that.
this plastic's starting to get hot or not. I'll put it away.
So when this,
Let me block your camera. There we go.
okay, this is ready. So now what we're going for is the Maillard effect.
The what?
The Maillard effect. You read the thing, you know what I'm talking about. So
You think I read?
I do.
Just like,
I have some notion what you do for a living, even.
just like.
Just because I got solar panels on top of my house on account of you. But anyway, okay. So
Someone in food pantry wants some lard.
well,
As I've rendered it.
lard is good.
I've rendered.
So Maillard, yeah. So,
I've given out rendered lard before. We had a local farmer give
okay,
us like
so
200
this is
pounds, and I
this
rendered it.
is spotty and it's boiling. I now add the molasses, and I'm going to add all of that and maybe a little bit more to get the Maillard effect. What happens is I had to look this up. I was just taught to do this by my New Orleans graduate.
I have a question for people who are online.
Uh-huh.
When you have a jar like that, how often do you add water to then rinse out the jar?
Never.
I grew up extremely poor. I do that even with cans.
Mm.
Like I'll rinse out the can and use that. Like, yep. So if I have even jellies or jams, I'll pour a little water in there and shake it up, and then it becomes a little juice shot.
Mm.
So, yep, I don't.
Well, we would
Cream and coffee.
I would do this. Actually, I think I've got enough here because I'm just looking at the color of it.
Well, I mean, like now I could like take a little of this broth, pour it in there, and then shake it up, and then you wouldn't, look how deep and dark.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Well,
you almost-
it's dark molasses, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's enough. So what we're doing here is we are waiting.
That's grandma's molasses. You've been
We
like,
are
old-timey.
waiting for the chemistry, the chemical change. Apparently, what happens is that the sugar rings are broken open by this heat, and it takes away the sweet. It's not sweet anymore when it does that.
Okay.
And this is what browns the flour. And people who bake bread know all about this Maillard effect. I didn't know what it was. I looked it up for the purposes of this show. I was simply taught how to do this, and I have always done it this way, but I have not.
You didn't know why.
I didn't know why. I had to look it up.
All right.
Turns out,
Isn't it fun to learn?
Yeah. I became a teacher for that very reason.
I love learning something every day.
Mhm.
It's probably why I do this show. It's like we've got like 258 shows on the YouTube now.
Mhm.
It's like I sound like an old guy on the YouTube. It's just like, right.
Okay, so I have to.
This camera angle,
I have
this
to-
setup is like it's working.
Yeah.
This is our first
I have
time
to cut
doing
it
it.
back now because the ghee is starting to curdle.
So okay, yeah, it's
And we
you
don't
turn
want-
it on its full blast, and then the further
Yeah,
you
yeah.
turn it,
But the ghee is starting to curdle and we don't want that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna cut it back. And actually, we cut it back for the purposes of adding the flour
so-
because we're gonna cook that flour.
turn it
slowly.
all. It's kind of cool. You just turn it all the way, and it's at the lowest setting.
Yeah. Well, I think we're good. I'm just watching the liquid here. All right. So
It
now,
literally,
now comes the
it
hard
almost looks
part.
like a whole pot of ghee.
Well, ghee, molasses, and chicken broth.
It's
Okay.
like,
So
how do you keep it from clumping?
I'm about to show you. Got cold chicken broth here.
Okay.
And you whisk, I will don't. This is going to go on for a while.
So how do you do it yourself? I guess just two-handed.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
All right. So start a whisking. Because you're bringing me.
So this, yeah, this is the part where I always get not impatient and I end up with lumps. Now I've read if you get flour and you just mix it with some cold in a bowl before, and that you basically get like a lump. So what's the point of adding the cold into it?
Breaks up the lumps.
Really?
Yep.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I just know that it does.
It does. Oh my goodness. So you're just adding a little cold broth on top of,
That's all I'm doing.
and it makes the lumps break up more.
That is right.
Oh,
Again,
it's
probably chemistry, but I stay away from chemistry.
because yeah, there is a bunch of lumps, and now you pour that, so the lumps
They just
disappear.
disappear.
Not all of them, but
Well, we're gonna make all of them disappear.
all right. There they go. Like, why even bother whisking then? So that's what I think I've heard, where you just mix the flour and cold liquid in a bowl until you get like a paste, and then you add that to your like gravy. One way people do it.
I think it could be done a lot of different.
But then you end
ways.
up with, when you're doing small batch, you don't want to make another bowl dirty.
No.
Do we want to turn those sauces down? They're really simmering. Just all the way there, as low as possible.
We're good. We haven't made a mistake yet. Oh, that one's way too hot. It's hot enough. I've got to take it off.
All right, I'll turn it off.
Still, turn it off. Turn it off all the way.
All right. All right, Roux the day you made me make Roux. You don't realize how agonizing it is for me to do this. I just
Why?
don't have the patience to. I don't know. It just, for me, mixing dry powder into wetness just always just like is just an excruciating, painful thing for me to do. So maybe that's why I make my gravy and my Roux with, I start with the flour and then add the liquid to it instead of the powder.
You could do it that way. I'm not an expert on this. I'm just doing it the way I was taught.
Right, yeah. I think I do it that way just because, yeah, I
I
always
know
end
that
up
this
with
works, and since I know that it works, I mean, and it really works, why, if it ain't broke. So we got a very light brown. I don't know whether the camera can see it. We got a very light brown sort of
You ever made
here.
what do you call
we're
it?
getting some
lumps. You ever made soy sauce gravy?
No.
Yeah, just, I don't know, for some reason this color is making me think of soy sauce gravy. You're right, the pan is filling up. It was only half full before you started putting this flour in. Oh yeah, you're putting more liquid. Yeah, I
liquid in too.
forgot that. Yeah, that hand's tired. Except with that other hand, I'm not any good at it.
I have had this problem before.
It's so funny because I practiced being ambidextrous with most things.
I work at it too, yeah.
Yeah, I can do it slowly, but if I speed it up, I start getting all twitchy.
I even tried to learn how to throw left-handed at one point. I can hit left-handed, but not anywhere near as well as I can right-handed. But I tried to learn how to throw left-handed. It's ugly. It's an ugly thing. I can bowl left-handed. I learned how to do that. In fact, I bowl better left-handed than right-handed. That's kind of a strange thing.
Well, bowling is about patience, so maybe.
And form. You know,
think so?
making roux is about patience too.
My dad always said, be patient or become a patient. And I'm like, I'm on my way to become a patient. There's certain things that I just, no matter how much I practice it, it does not.
Oh.
Things are so between the roux and the tomato sauce and the shrimp, it's starting to smell like gumbo in here.
I'm afraid.
I mean, originally we had just that
turn that one off too.
that raw shrimp flavor. 5 hours later.
Well, I told you this is the hard part.
You didn't tell me I was having to do the hard part.
It's a lot easier with 2 people than it is with 1.
Okay, just for comedy effect, I want to see you do this with 2 hands. Just like that.
This is how I do it.
Just like I got him to do it, so I didn't have to. Just like
You know, you're not all that good at playing dumb.
just like no, I'm not. But
The way I whisk is I always go for the lumps, right?
chase the lumps. But
Go lump, go lump, go lump, go lump. Ah, it's nice.
Isn't it interesting how, like,
thicken now?
the best food is like how we figured out how to make good taste with
God,
very low cost.
But very low cost.
I mean, right there is just
ain't nothing
whatever
less.
fat you have
Yeah.
and some flour and honestly,
Chicken broth.
any kind of liquid, really,
Yeah, you could do it with water.
you know,
I mean, it's
You
not going
just-
to be as yummy.
you're just
but
trying to make a flavored something that you can thicken your soup with later, right? It's both a flavor base, but it also thickens the soup because it has flour in it.
Mhm.
But I never would have thought of using molasses though. That's probably why we have you keep coming back on the show because you come up with
I wouldn't have thought
stuff
of it
nobody
either.
else does.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't have thought of it either. I was simply taught to do it. So I only learned 2 or 3 weeks ago why I do it. It is common, so bakers do it all the time. That Maillard effect is what gives that sort of yummy, crusty thing at the edge of the bread. And so all the bakers know how to do this, but it's true that it's, you know, I guess it has a French name for a reason. So there's Mr. Maillard or something figured out what the chemistry of this is. But my guess is, and that's what I said, I think in the recipe, my guess is that people have been doing this for a lot longer than Maillard. He's probably the chemist who figured what's happening here.
Ever tell you words to put on YouTube and I had to GPT to see if it could shorten it? I didn't know if I told you that.
That doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
Just like
It sounds like you might end up with something that ain't a recipe.
that was the first time I used ChatGPT to just like see if it would do anything, and yeah, it didn't do a good job. But I think it was like 60 words over. I think YouTube has like a 5,000 word
5,000 word limit. Yeah, that's right.
Just like
So you do see how beautiful this is, right?
not really. It just looks like
Well, it's gonna get darker. I'm about to cook it.
it just looks like dirty bathwater to me right now. Just like, but
I think it's
nobody
beautiful.
has bathwater that
Yeah.
dirty. That's
By the
a really
way,
bad joke.
can, if you want to, burn, and when I say burn, I mean caramelize to the point of carbonize onions and garlic in the bottom of the pan before you start this.
Okay.
That would not be unusual for a Cajun dish. I did it that way the first few times I made it, and then I realized that I don't think it was making that big a difference in the taste.
Okay. I mean, I think you're kind of shortcutting that by adding the molasses. You're adding a similar.
Because the sugars in the onions and stuff. Let me raise the heat on this a bit. We gotta bake that flour.
Cooking with heat.
Mm-hmm. I think we got our roux, but
Now, how did you decide that? Because what I
the
would
pan
do,
is full.
well, I mean, I have just a little bit of flour, a little bit of something, and I just put that in there so I don't save it. That's always been my thing. And then I always overfill the pot by doing that.
We have a baggie that was in. I don't know where it is, but we have it.
I might have. Okay, she's got it.
All right.
But
all right. So from here, so the texture is perfect. The texture's
okay.
perfect.
While you keep stirring that, you think I should start cutting up some okra?
Yep. We can move on to that now.
Part of it is we're making such big batches.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
stay focused on keep doing stuff.
I think we're good in terms of the rest of it.
What was this for?
Oh, that was I think that was on the flour bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to keep it closed. Oh,
Oops. But see, I have a hard. So like, there's like, I don't know, like 2 ounces of liquid in here and like a couple ounces of flour, and I would have just ended up putting it in there and then overflowing it. That's what happens to me all the time.
It's not gonna hurt anything.
I would just like, there's just a little more.
It's not worth saving, so.
Yeah.
But that's gonna change the texture of it.
Well, you have a little bit more flour too, so.
Oh no, I got a lot more flour.
Well, in that little bag.
This will be all right.
Yeah.
It'll still cook. It's gonna slow it down a little bit, but.
How do you want this okra?
So this is done. This is done.
We got two
this is-
kinds.
Yeah. So. Yeah, okra tops in the garni bag. But it's really simple. It's just
Okay.
this.
So you got the green ones too, or the
Yeah.
fresh ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Would specify.
It won't make much difference. I don't mind the tails in it. So
Really?
yeah.
So just cut. You don't cut off any of the bits.
Well, I mean, the tops are going in the garni bag.
That's what I thought you meant when you said tail.
No, the tail is this, but I don't have any problem with that. All right.
All right.
So I'm going to put all the fresh one in one of them and all the frozen ones.
Are we doing
in the other.
experiment?
Hmm?
Are we doing an experiment, or you?
No, because it'll make a difference in how long and how hot I cook.
Got it.
Because those don't need to be cooked as long as those do. In fact, we should do these first. We should do the fresh ones first. So
Okay.
So you go to.
Oh yeah, because they take longer to cook.
Yes, it's thickening up real nice.
So let's see.
I am now adding the Tonys. So as I
The
said,
Tonys? Oh, the spice mix.
yeah, as I said on the website, there are many good Cajun mixes, but I am really partial to Tonys, and I am really generous with it as a general rule. You don't need salt and pepper if you use Tonys.
I mean, it seems like whenever you make this gumbo, you give a lot of it out, so you're generous overall, right? But
You know, I hope that when I'm dead, that's one of the things people say about me.
that,
Yes,
that you're dead?
That I'm generous.
Oh, all right.
Another thing that they might say, however, is that I don't understand even remotely the value of a dollar. And so,
We're putting all this, right?
yeah. So let me get a different board. So I'll start working on these, and either that or maybe Gail will start working on these. She seems to. Oh man, that was brand new.
What'd you do? Oh, you just cracked it?
Yeah.
Picking it by the corner?
So just cut this part off.
Mhm.
put it in the
Sure,
bag
that's
here.
fine. Mm-hmm.
Just
Just
cut the
chop it
little
up.
tip off.
I mean, chop it into circles. You know how I do it. Yeah. Let's see what we're doing here.
Are we done yet? Look at this pile. It's like, I never really liked okra growing up, but they say your taste buds change every 7 years. But okra, I don't think it's a taste. I think it was always a texture.
Well,
And
it's
finally,
made right. So what'd you do with that jar? Oh, here it is.
it seems like a lot of people, what they do is they let them grow too big.
Yeah, they're better. They're better small for sure.
Because I mean, if I look in this, it doesn't have that much. It seems like they either when they get really big, they get really slimy, and then they get really woody.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Is
they're
it-
not. I'd say you don't want to leave them on the vine too long is the main thing. It's not as much the size as it is how long are they on the vine. They become inedible pretty quickly if you leave them on the vine.
I recently had some pickled, and I was just like, oh, maybe I should stop saying I don't like it. And then I had this. We cooked on the cooking show. Yeah, I don't know. We just
So I'm covering this to bake it, this roux, so it'll seep in, turn darker. I'm also about to add the last of the tomato sauce.
doesn't it seem like the majority of Creole food is stuff nobody else wanted?
Well, yeah,
It was just like, so we like find the bitter greens out there, that wild greens that nobody will eat. And
Yeah.
then they figured out how to take this that people are like, oh yeah, that's inedible, and let's add it to something. And your bits of meat that are leftovers. So, but yeah, I've had so how would you make a gumbo without tomato sauce?
Oh, well, it's chicken broth. I mean, you know, your main sort of base, and it doesn't matter whether it's gumbo or jambalaya or whatever. It's always some kind of chicken vegetable broth.
I recently had a jambalaya that instead of rice, they had cornmeal. That I thought that was pretty good.
Well, corn muffins I could see, but
That they used corn, like basically served it over like a polenta almost. But all right, am I done yet? But this is one of those
oh,
when
you got to finish them.
when you make a big batch of stuff, that's where you get all your friends together and you start telling stories and jokes. And
Oh yeah,
I don't know, probably have a little bit of
gumbo
moonshine or wine.
Yeah, gumbo making is an all-day affair, and you know, I'm sure that if it's the women making it, they gossip inside, and if it's the men, they
I think
they gossip outside.
I think the guys probably gossip more than the women do. They don't call it gossiping,
they're trash talking.
but just like, all right. Now, I know there's classic things that you put in a gumbo. Is there anything, I know you're an experimenter. Classic. I know you're an experimenter. Did you ever like add something that you were like, that was horrible? I do that pretty frequently.
No, can't say I've done that. Don't think, I mean, yeah, I was about to say I've had only a couple of kitchen fails in my life, and she always reminds me of Starfruit Surprise, which was bad. Part of it is that I don't really know chemistry,
I would say my most spectacular thing was literally a thing of chili.
No, what?
A thing of chili where you're supposed to add like a little bit of baking soda to neutralize it. Was it baking soda? Now I'm trying to think. Oh, I was supposed to put apple juice. And I put apple cider vinegar instead.
Oh my gosh.
And that was, and so then I was like, okay, I'll just add a little baking soda to neutralize it. And I created, you know, a chili volcano. You know, if you've ever did the experiment when you were a teenager or at school of mixing vinegar and baking soda.
No. I mean,
So-
I know about it, but I never did it.
Yeah, so I mean,
I never had the chemistry class.
so I was, again, patience. I was slowly adding the baking soda and it was, you know, but it just, I kept adding and adding and adding, and I wasn't neutralizing that because it was a substantial amount of apple juice that you were supposed to put in. And again, I put vinegar instead. And finally I got frustrated and I just dumped the thing of, and literally like,
It sounds like
It was just-
patience might be your peculiar challenge.
just like, yeah, I end up with this volcano of chili all over my stove. But the funny thing is once the volcano finished, it tasted phenomenal. But I probably spent like a week like digging chili out of parts of the stove, even though I thought I cleaned it really well. Just like, but so that was a spectacular failure, but I mean, I might have a failure, but then I'll, you know, I have to eat my failures, so you can quit caring if there's a failure or not. So
How long till gumbo?
just like,
I would say maybe 30 minutes.
you really think that fast?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like, he's not used to making this much gumbo. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
all right, we got a customer hanging out there wanting some gumbo.
I want a
Look at this.
big order.
Fresh. Big order.
Yeah, I need two of the, what do you got?
Family size.
Yeah, two family size.
So there you go, 2 gallons right
Well,
there.
enough.
No, I'm just kidding. That's about a gallon right there. All
All
right.
right, well, I'll double back.
Yeah, about half hour. Be done.
Just like, yeah, he brought all kinds of fresh stuff. Like I'm cutting all this is all the okra. So
I can't wait. I'll see you in half an hour.
All right.
who knows? You might sell out.
I might. So I'm gonna need some just ordinary vegetable oil.
All right, I heard the words, you might sell out.
Just-
But I've got my order in already.
all right, yeah,
Yeah.
Covered.
2 family size.
Yeah, and if you want to put them, if you got bigger containers, instead of putting them all into cups.
Oh no, this is like a tub like this big. That's a family. It's like, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you for supporting the pantry, man. We get like, I mean, you keep hearing that door ding. That's because we have like, on food pantry day, we have like 30 to 40 people come in and get food every week. So, oh, I'm getting so close to done. See, that's the thing. Like, I don't know, with knife work, I think I have to focus so much. I usually don't lose patience doing that. But
What's that, dear?
when
I'm gonna switch it between the two of them.
you probably don't need it for this because you got so much flavor, but you can, huh?
Well, I'm not gonna waste the.
Yeah.
Waste the.
Wow. You put it in the freezer bag, I'll make broth later. I never waste any of the sticks.
I was not intending to have jalapenos. Oh,
Let's see here. All right, I'm getting so close. This table is about 2 inches too low for my back. This is a portable stainless steel table, so it's like, What's nice about this is it's a folding portable table. So, all right. Okay, 2 more. Managed to make not too much of a mess.
so,
All right. How's that roux coming along?
it's ruining.
How's it supposed to look like?
Well, so it's gone darker by about 2 shades.
So are you trying for color or thickness?
Well, the thickness is already there. At this point, it's about color.
Okay, so if we're gonna serve in like, trying to serve in like 30 minutes, I should start a big pot of rice.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So, how do you like doing your rice?
I don't do it in a rice cooker, so I'm not the person.
No, but
to
any
ask about that.
special, do you put any flavors or just rice?
Butter.
Okay. But do you rinse your rice or
I don't, but she does.
you got brown basmati here, huh?
Takes a little longer than your typical.
I mean, how the rice cooker just does is that when it runs out of moisture, it shuts off based on temperature. I definitely am not any good at making rice. I always somehow mess it up. I always do. Well, part of it is the practice of rinsing it is to get, you know, it might not be that clean in like bits of, but I mean, like this is, look at that. I mean, there's almost, I mean, I wouldn't even rinse that because there's like no, it's completely clear. So, but then some of it in the process, they grind up the rice. And so, all right. This rice cooker is so big, I do have to make sure it's on its own. If you do end up running the microwave here, let me know. Because it can't have.
Oh, I already did.
No, but it can't have the rice in the microwave at the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm done with the microwave.
I could plug it in somewhere else, but it's such a big cooker. So, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
I got this, get this sausage. It's all pre-chopped up already. And all right, we're almost done. Oh, it's the,
Okay, it's time for that to go in.
so I mean, yeah, you get it really, really thick, but because it's got so much oil, it's not sticking to the bottom of the
Oh,
pan.
no, it's not sticking.
Just like, oh no, all the way high and then keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been using it for years and I still, you get used to one kind of stove and mixes you up. So, but
That looks better than this.
this handle doesn't. So
Yeah.
the wooden handle, I need to carve it a little better. I got that in Chinatown in San Francisco,
Yeah?
and it has like a replaceable wooden handle, but it's fallen off. So, but all right. Let's see. Well, I guess you want me to cut some of that? You almost got it all cut out. I'm going to grab some and put it in. Which one of the pot were you putting the frozen ones?
It's this one.
So this is the frozen okra.
Yep.
It cooks a lot faster, but and I suppose well, we need to cut all these shrimp in half, right?
Well, not until the very end.
I mean, before we put it in.
Hmm? Yeah, cut it in half
Yeah,
so that you can eat it with a spoon without having things
Those are-
dangling out of your mouth.
this is one of those oxymoron foods. Jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, yeah.
And the shrimp, how long you cook the shrimp? Just for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
You don't want to overcook it. All right, and I'll have to take this cutting board away after this because shrimp contaminated. But lots of good shrimp. You think more than, look at how big these are, even cut in half. I mean, I've got a big mouth, but
Yeah, you could cut them even one more time, I think.
okay. Yep, I was thinking cut them in threes.
Yeah, cut them in thirds.
Like, but are you starting to get nervous? It sounds like people are lining up out there.
Why would I get nervous?
Just like I don't know. It's like I definitely wouldn't want the pressure of having, do a regular meal every day. I enjoy cooking too much.
Well, I cook about once every, I don't know, 3 days.
But
Because
how people,
but then we eat leftovers.
but how people do it for a living, where like they have
Yeah.
to serve 150 people
Yeah.
like 2 meals a day. But I just have a lot of respect for anybody who cooks in a restaurant.
Yeah, me too.
Just like it's hard enough to just cook for a few people. Doo-doo-doo. All right.
So the ones that have the
So you just,
frozen okra, I'm cooking on a lower heat.
so did you just mix that roux in really well?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I mean, I just divided it in half and I'm mixing it now. I mean, but this, I mean, your gumbo should be mainly brown, not mainly red.
I remember once cooking with some people from Africa, and they cooked their tomatoes basically, tomato curry until it basically didn't taste like tomatoes. That's just their standard way of making curry.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you could say that about mine. They do taste very much like tomatoes.
They're just like, but
All right, I am gonna chop up some jalapenos. I didn't bring any Tabasco sauce. I forgot. So do you have some vegetable oil that I can use to?
there's 5 gallons right there.
Well, I don't need 5 gallons of it,
That's just like,
but I see, I mean, there's some Pam, that'd probably do the trick.
just some spray can cooking spray if you just need a little bit. But otherwise,
Well, I'm just gonna do the andouille here.
so you don't just dump it in. You want to brown it first.
No, I want to brown it. In fact, I brown it to the point that it's got a little bit of carbon on it. Where'd they go? Where'd those andouilles go?
Right here.
Oh.
All right. All right, let me take this shrimp contaminated cutting board.
By the way, these andouilles are excellent. You
And
said
those are-
you got them from some sort of mass.
Well, that's like food bank andouille, isn't?
Man,
You never, you don't really
it's
usually.
like some of the best andouille sausage I ever tasted.
I mean, you don't even. So yeah, it says Midwest Food Bank. You don't think of food banks as having quality food.
no, but
Right.
this is a really
Yeah, it's got a hickory smoke flavor in it, and
well.
just like sometimes when it gets hot, just try a different one. Yeah, sometimes that one is a new stove, but sometimes that one, when it gets hot, it's all right. And all right. I probably should take a picture of what I forgot to take a picture of any of this. One day I'll learn to, like, I don't know, market stuff.
I don't intend to learn that.
Well, I mean, I have to figure out how to get people to support, the food pantry. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with getting support for nonprofit stuff. So, all right. I think this might be a record for you on the show.
What do you mean?
How quick you cook something.
Well, that's
I
because
think it's because I was helping.
and Gay was helping, and a lot of the stuff was done in advance, and
That's true.
the hits just keep on coming.
Yep, your tomato sauce, definitely. That was like a lot of time ahead of time. Now, do you ever make the roux? And I've seen people do this. They make the roux and then they divide it into like quart bags and then just put it away.
I've never done that, no, but
Yeah.
I assume that it could be done.
If you are someone who makes this like regularly,
Well, it's a lot of trouble. Well, not a lot of trouble. It's a little bit of trouble.
But yeah, I mean, if you did this like, a batch, I don't know, twice a month, you could make enough to last a week and then you have a week off and,
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, there's no reason not to.
I moved your coffee over there.
My coffee is over here. That's what I was looking for. How could you tell?
It's just like,
Anybody ever tell you you are funny?
looking.
They did mention that.
Yeah, that's why I started a radio show. I got a face made for radio. But I don't know. It took me a really long time on this cooking show to show my face. Originally,
Really?
I just had the camera pointed down and what do you call it? you just saw my hands in the counter.
Uh-huh, really?
So if you go back to the beginning of the YouTube channel, that's how they were in the beginning.
Oh, realized that was Max. He was sticking his head in here really. Okay, okay. He's grown a little bit.
I said, don't leave. I got gumbo. You don't want to taste some gumbo? Probably it's spicy. I mean, you're just like a hot dog.
Not terribly.
She's dressed as a hot dog. It is Halloween. So a hot dog told me that they don't want anything spicy. I don't listen to hot dogs.
You know, I don't think it's going to be terribly spicy. You can add, so I'm going to chop up some jalapenos. You want it spicy, you do that.
Oh, sure. We could give some to the volunteers. It's a fundraiser for the pantry, but we have a lot of volunteers here.
Oh, yeah. Well,
can feed them,
volunteers
too.
are important.
But we might sell out. So
Well, given the thickness of this, I'm going to be able to add some liquid.
we
to
do
it.
need some test subjects. So, I mean, we could have a few of the volunteers lined up and taste it. But
So I'm real happy with the thickness of it. You might want to come over here and dig and stir a little bit and see where we are. But I'm happy enough with the thickness that I'm actually going to add a little bit of liquid.
oh, I mean, that is. Well, this one's a little thinner, the one with the fresh.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a lid, not a bowl.
It looks like a bowl.
It does.
All right, this is a bowl.
It's missing the lid part. So yeah, it's got, yeah, don't worry. I know it's a lid and I do that. So, all right, this is the last of this.
Yeah. You know which one that goes in?
Yep.
That one. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, there's two stuff.
Oh, that's not a hurry.
You're gonna, so you want some of these jalapenos cut up?
I want them Hellenized.
Okay. Bits, yeah.
But is it for thrown away?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a compost now.
Oh, no.
Oh, you dropped it. Yeah, there is a ladle with like a, what do you call it? Where is that? Here it is. This is the one I like to use because it's got the plastic, and then I could leave it there, and but it's the only one I have. But be careful, there it still could get hot. There's a little place where the plastic's kind of rough. All right. So what do we have left? Fry the sausage. Now, if it was up to you, how long would you cook that for?
Couple hours.
Couple hours? And what happens to it? It just it thickens.
It's
more
going
and
to
more.
thicken. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's part of the reason I'm adding some water now is because it's so thick now that there's nothing to cook down.
Yeah, so there's nothing.
But it's a very pleasing thick, or at least it was.
I did that on purpose. Oops.
Sure you did. Boy, that andouille is pretty good. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
All right, as soon as that okra contributes its soul to this, it'll be quite thick.
Did you say contributes his soul?
The okra has to give up its soul.
So you're a veggie killer. Let's get
Yeah, well,
another cutting board for the jalapenos.
I do think we could start draining the crawfish tails, and we can definitely add the garni bag now.
So how do you want these jalapenos cut up? Just however,
want
because you're
Hellenized.
gonna run it through your machine.
Yeah,
Are you gonna do all these?
I was planning to. I mean,
Okay.
we don't know how many people are here.
That's true. We're a little isolated in the kitchen, but it sounds like a lot of people are out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise coming from out there.
Luckily, we got these microphones, so hopefully it's not picking up too much of that. But in the future, if I keep doing a lot of these cooking things in the kitchen, I want to feed out into the dining room with like a TV screen so people can watch us live. But but I wonder how many people are watching the live feed and seeing us and then just coming to get food.
I don't know.
Probably not many, but even if a couple people do. But I don't know, watching us cook this, they might not want to eat it. It's just like. Now with the jalapenos, you put the seeds in and all too, right? I thought so, but
I mean, you can get some very nice jalapeno flavor if you like the taste of the pepper by leaving the seeds out. But if you want the heat, you got to have the seeds.
All right. Pure volume. There's a lot of stuff. You've been shopping for days.
You are correct.
And then if you count all the cooking of that sauce, you cook for days too.
I did.
So, I mean, you said you got bushels of tomatoes from the farmer's market and got them.
Yeah. Well, I still have a freezer full of it too.
But, all right, let's see.
Soon. I do think draining the crawfish tails is the thing we need to be doing now.
Starting to get hot in here.
Well, no, it's time for that. Where are the crawfish tails? They're in here.
They're taking a ice bath.
No,
That's
they're
a
all
lot of crawfish tails.
Yeah, but this is the chicken. This does the same work as the chicken.
All right, I think
Man, that looks so yummy. A little hot.
well, the back edge is getting the heat of that pot too.
Ah, yeah, I see.
All right. Are you gonna?
So we need something to drain with.
And you need your Hellenizer.
Yeah. That's a lid.
Can you drain it over the shrimp? You want to save this juice or no?
The juice is pretty good.
So you could drain it over that or no?
Well,
Let me grab these scissors. We're starting to speed up here.
yeah, well, we're kind of coming to the crucial moment. I need something to drain this into. Do you have anything?
But again, do you mind if it goes in there?
Well, I don't want now because then I'm gonna have to dump that as it is into.
Okay. Then I'll get a pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andouille batch number 1 is about to go in.
So why don't you put the broth in that's in here?
I don't trust it. In the sense that it might overtake my flavor combination.
Okay, it just makes it too strong.
Yeah.
Crawfish. This is like way too many flavors.
Well, it's gumbo. I mean, for God's sake, this is the very meaning of the word mixture, right?
Just like, there's not that much broth in it.
How many you got in here?
2.
2? Okay.
Man, at least we didn't have to do the work of doing these. It's like, look at.
Yeah. Yeah, some poor immigrant worker that did that. Someone hated and villainized by 45.
Do you want all these in there?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, for that purpose.
We're talking a lot of flavor here, huh? Oh my
Well, I
goodness.
mean, like I say, that's the chicken. When you have crawfish tails, it's better than chicken. What happened to the Pam? There it is.
All right.
How many are in there?
This one has 3.
Okay.
So
That's one.
turned it off.
Well, I turned it down. I'm turning it back up now.
All right.
And Andouille batch number 2.
Hey, Gay, do you see that? What did he call it? Hellenizer? Somewhere? Because he's got these jalapenos to do.
Well, there it is. So there's the lid.
There you go. The help of a good sous chef. That's all washed already.
These are local. I was warned that it's a Mexican variety and very spicy. That's why I said, go wash your hands. Don't go to your eyes, not at this moment.
At this point, I have jalapeno and crawfish on it. All right, let me put. I can. Yeah, we will. There's sanitizers. All right, let me wash my hands. I think this is my favorite part of this kitchen. It's got a foot pedal operated sink. That's, you don't have to worry about the handles getting all dirty and. But see, look at you made me do all that work, and
That's it?
yeah, I mean it's not even like a half a cup.
No, it's still too much though. I mean, that overtake my flavors. Smell it.
So then it becomes a Thai gumbo here,
Yeah,
where you add a little fish sauce in.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that's, it's good
I think-
tasting, it's good tasting stuff, but it killed my balance.
So let's see, let's see, this shrimp has,
That I would prefer not to have in there too.
okay,
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. Now you've gotten. I don't know. I have to wash my hands again,
Imagine that.
but get your 10,000 steps. But, all right. I'm gonna start. I think this rice is almost done.
That's good.
It's smelling. Yeah, look at that.
Yep, I'm smelling it.
So I think we're almost ready to serve.
Just about. Haven't put the shrimp in yet, but
Do you want to just wrap up the cooking and show part, and then I don't know, relax a little bit?
well, I'm not gonna relax because I've still got cooking to do here.
Yeah.
But
So let's see, I mean, the only thing you really have to do is add the jalapeno and the shrimp.
Well, I'm not gonna add the jalapeno. I'm gonna have people add that themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be too much.
Yeah.
And I forgot Tabasco. I can't believe I forgot it, but I did. It's one of those
I
things. that
think
happen.
let's see, I think I have one little jar of hot sauce up here somewhere.
Well, they can add those jalapenos and it'll be just as hot as they want it to be.
I don't have like, oh wait. There you go.
Well, that's not bad.
It's not Louisiana,
No,
but it's still up to people's. So. You want to just turn to the camera and do a quick thank you and I'll wrap it up.
Sure.
While you're cooking.
Thank you, and you'll wrap it up.
It's just like, that's all you have to do is,
All I gotta do is add the shrimp now.
so you add the shrimp, what, like
Well, right
3
now.
minutes, 3 minutes before you serve it?
Well, yeah, a little more than that, but I mean, so, right? The trouble is shrimp overcooks so quickly.
Okay. And so you want to add it like,
Just at the last minute.
so what would you say, within 10 minutes of serving it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, so not, yeah, so, all right,
But we're getting there, right?
you can now say, well, let's see how many we served. Because,
Well,
that's a lot of
we got about 10 gallons, so we'll see how many people we can serve with that.
Yeah, so,
And the andouille is going in to this, and so.
too bad we didn't have a little more chicken broth and deglaze that pan, that's some good stuff there. Just add, I'll add,
I don't have any more chicken broth.
I'll just add a little water to that,
Uh-huh.
deglaze it. So I don't like wasting anything,
Well, that'd be yummy.
so.
It ain't burnt, it's just yummy.
All right, let me hit the buttons. Here we go. This has been fun. Time has flown by.